Okay, welcome back. Episode 7. I'm going to try to speak quickly because everyone says that they play me at 1.5x or 2x. I'm really just not good at that. I mean, this is stream of consciousness, as they say. So you guys control it on your end, and I'm just going to do my thing, but I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit and hopefully keep this to a short episode. Also, today's the last day of Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah if you're hearing this today. If not, then happy whatever day it is that you're listening on. And also, yesterday was New Year's, so happy New Year's. I put out what I thought was a decent video on resolutions. So watch that on Instagram. Anyway, I want to get straight to this. I started this journey probably a year and a half ago. I think it was May of 2024. No, May of 2023. Wow, today's already 2025. All right, May of 2023. And I started with Instagram and YouTube videos. And it was kind of different. And I could do a whole episode on why I started and why I'm here today. But that's not for now. The point is, I'm starting to get feedback from all different types of people. And one friend told me that someone stumbled across my Instagram account and said that, why is he doing this? Like, this isn't who he is. He's not a rabbi. He never did this before. Is he having some sort of midlife crisis? And I just kind of chuckled at that because I thought that was funny. Even though, do I chuckle? I don't even really know what a chuckle is. Like a fake, like a short laugh. I don't know. I have to Google that. I don't think I chuckled, but that's something people say. So I said that because I thought it sounded good. I laughed. Did I? No, I didn't laugh. Whatever. The point is, I thought it was amusing because it's just funny to think about. Like, I still think of myself as a kid. So, like, I'm a 25-year-old and really I'm going to be 40 soon. So I guess, back in the day, that would be probably a midlife crisis age. Although people never seem to die anymore. So I think the midlife point is probably closer to 45 than 39. But either way, a lot of my friends are turning 40, and I just thought it was kind of apropos and hilarious for someone to say that the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is because I'm having a midlife crisis, which is just hilarious in itself. But it got me thinking about midlife crises. No, crises. And at first I was like kind of offended, like, dude, that sucks. Like, I'm doing something that I think is good, that I think is valuable for the world, for the Jewish people, for the universe. And like, this is how it's being looked at. But I don't ever have to justify anything to anyone. If I'm good with it, then I'm good with it. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. But I found it amusing that someone would associate me doing this channel, this podcast, this Instagram, this YouTube, as being a midlife crisis. So I started thinking about, what is a midlife crisis even? Like, I remember thinking when I was young, it meant for men, like, you buy a sports car. And for women, it means you get divorced and become a cougar. I don't know if that's for everyone, but that it was something extreme, that you had to do something extreme. Like, you had to go out and, spend all your money on something, or all of a sudden, shave your head and get a tattoo or whatever. And I always kind of had this negative association with a midlife crisis. Like, this person freaked out and is now, doing yoga on mountaintops or whatever. You get the point. And that's why I thought it was funny, because I was like, hey, what is my freak out here, that I'm like trying to spread positive Torah to the world? Like, could that even be considered a midlife crisis? And then I realized that it's all subjective, right? There's no such definition as, yeah, there's a general definition of midlife crisis, but to each person, when they get unhinged and start to question it, it could be whatever it is for that person. So, I started looking into it, and the general definition is that people can, forget the symptoms of depression and just, making unexpected moves and changes and whatever. The bottom line meat and potatoes of the midlife crisis is that, I don't really have to tell you, but it's that someone is like, hey, I'm eventually not going to be here, right? And I can't be here forever. So what is my purpose? What am I doing with my time? What am I going to, have to look back on in 40 years from now or 50 years from now or whenever that is? And, it dawned on me that a midlife crisis is actually awesome. And that all this time that I thought there was like a negative, connotation to a midlife crisis, that really it's actually something amazing. And like, how good would the world be if everyone had a midlife crisis every day for like a minute? And it got me thinking about the Tanya, and the Balatanya, the Alter Rebbe discusses that everyone should find time in the day to actually think about and take a spiritual inventory of where they are in their lives. And I think in a nutshell, that's really what a midlife crisis is. It's you sitting and saying, what have I done with myself? What am I going to do with myself? Am I proud of who I am? Am I proud of who I'm going to be? What do I have to show for myself at the end of all this? And if you look at it from a spiritual level, if you took that inventory every single day for 30 seconds or a minute, that would probably get you to focus and be a really great Jew and overall a really good human being. Now, I think the sometimes depressing part of a midlife crisis could be that you actually have to, look back and feel like you didn't do anything, or the fact that you're immortal and will eventually not be here, which I don't really believe because Mashiach's going to come anyway. But if not, the fact that you're eventually not going to be here can be a depressing thought for people, and then you can kind of spiral out of control, and people can do some erratic things. But if you had a positive midlife crisis every single day, where you're like, okay, I get it, I'm immortal, I'm a mortal, not immortal, I'm going to be here for a short amount of time in the grand scheme of the universe, and I have to make that time valuable, I have to be effective in my life, then that would really fuel some, positive change in a person. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to go out and, give up your day job and become a shliach in Zambia. Zambia. I'm still going back and forth about this. But just on a micro level, I guarantee that if someone did that every day, their lives would be tremendously better. They would take an inventory of who they are and what they do. And if you were really honest with yourself when you did that every day for a minute or 30 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever, or even if you did it once a week or once a month, and I tell people to do this on their birthdays, take an actual inventory of what you did that year. And New Year's is a good time for this, to say, hey, what am I going to do next year? But if you were really honest about it, where you are in Torah and mitzvahs, parenting, your relationships, you can extend this to business, how much tzedakah you're giving, all of that, you would really, if you looked at it through a lens of honesty, even just for a little bit, because most people like to lie to themselves, right? They play this ignorance is bliss game where I'm just not going to really focus on it because I have more time. There's always more time. What if there isn't more time, which is the essential focal point of a midlife crisis, that there isn't as much time as I think, because holy crap, it's been 39 years. What's going to happen, when I run out of time? The second half of life, I have more joint pain and, less time with my kids and whatever else, gets you worried. It's a difficult thought. And so most people just don't want to think about it. But if you really thought about it and you said, okay, I'm going to look through this lens of honesty and I'm going to just be super real with myself, where am I going to end up? What is it going to say on my headstone? What is going to happen between now and then? Like I have goals, religious goals, things I want to do, things I want to learn. The Torah is infinite. You could spend your whole life and never finish Torah because it never ends. So, if I just go about my life right now, I will never be able to finish Shas and all of Tanakh and all this other stuff at my current pace because I don't do so much of that right now. So it's like, hey, well, what if I just did an inventory every 30 seconds? The point is, I'm not going to kill you with repetition because I told you this is going to be short. But a midlife crisis could actually be really good. If you have a midlife crisis every single day, just take an assessment of where you are and where you want to be. I guarantee that, God willing, you'll end up making, your midlife crisis into a positive journey, something that you say, how do I become better? I don't have infinite time in this world until Mashiach comes, when I will. And at that point, he can tell me what to be doing. But in the meantime, what do I do with my time? How do I make myself the most effective? So I bless all of you on this last day of Hanukkah that you should all have a midlife crisis. You should have a midlife crisis every single day. And instead of panic, resolve to yourself after you take an honest assessment and just say, what do I do with myself? How do I make myself better? Whether it's daily or weekly or monthly or yearly, have yourself the best freaking midlife crisis of all time.